Alright, how's it going guys? My name is SMVACK and I'm gonna be breaking down my new song called Need, which is actually not that new anymore because it's already been like a year. But yeah, I'm just gonna start by playing like a quick preview for you guys, just so you know, just in case some of you guys haven't actually heard the track before. So yeah, this is it.
It could be cold 'cause I don't wanna fall now in too deep, in too deep. Can't give you my all 'cause I know what the all now where it lead, where it lead. I could come over, baby, but not to sleep. I'll pick up your call 'cause you know that I want this, not what I need.
So that's what the track sounds like. I'm just gonna start by showing you guys like the backbone or like the base of the whole track, which are the chords and the bell sounds. So I actually started this whole idea with just these two things. So for the chords, I use Serum, and it's actually a sound or like a patch that I made myself. It's actually pretty easy. It's called the Basic Ass Saw Pad. I name it that way because it's actually pretty easy to make. It's basically just a saw wave, 4 unisons of saw wave with some filter on it, and that's pretty much it. And as for the processing, basically just a bunch of EQing to make it fit better in the mix. So yeah, even with no effects whatsoever, it's still pretty much the same. Yeah, sorry about that guys. I thought I heard something, but it's probably just nothing. um, anyway, back to the pad. So yeah, as I said, not much processing going on with the pads. It's just some EQing, like a bunch of different EQing. So we're just gonna move on to the bell. So this is from Nexus, I believe. Yeah, this is Nexus. It's called the Fizzy Bells 2 from the block section, which is actually just the what's it called? Like the factory bank or like the factory preset pack. So if you have Nexus 2, you definitely have this sound. And as for the processing of the bells, bunch of EQing actually. So this is the first one. Basically just it's filtering like the low frequency as well as the high. So I just leave like the mid section over here, and I also boost them a little bit, which actually gives like this retro feel. And speaking of retro, I also added this plugin called the Vintager Toy, which actually adds a bit more, retro feeling. I don't know if you guys can hear the difference, but I can. uh, so yeah, dimension expander to make it a bit wider, more EQ, some delay. I use the classic delay, as you can see, which is actually my favorite delay plugin. I don't know why, but I just use it a lot. And some reverb and kickstart to add a bit of pumping effect. It's not really sidechaining it, but it just gives like a little bit of pumping effect, which is why it's only like 30%. And from this point onwards, I just basically edit more and more stuff. So I'm just gonna start explaining section by section from this point onwards, starting with the intro.
Flashing lights intertwined. I met you at just the wrong time.
So for the intro, basically I have the vocal filtered out. Yeah, I have the vocal with some filter, which I can't really show you because I actually added like the filter on like a different project, because I actually processed the vocal on a different project, which I don't think I'm gonna show you this time, but yeah, because yeah, I think I lost it or something. Um, but yeah, basically for the intro, I have the vocal filtered out,
Flashing lights intertwined.
as well as a bunch of ambient samples or drones, as some people might call it. I also added like this final effect to add a bit of, you know, retro feeling, which I don't think is actually like the theme for this whole track, but it's just nice to add a bit of retroness into your songs, which I tend to do this in this project, uh, in this project specifically. I also do it on like my other projects, but yeah, this is one of them. Anyway, I also added some atmospheric samples, which is this one. So this is actually a block part from my other song called "Tell Me Something." So it has like a block, it has like a block art type of thing, and I put it into like a plugin called Edison, and I just blur it, and this is what it sounds like after I blur it. Sounds really nice. Sounds really, you know, atmospheric, which is nice, and the bell from before.
Flashing lights intertwined. I met you at just the
And when the verse starts,
my mind. It'd be smart to cut
the
it
pads came
off.
in,
To not
and you
reply
know
when
the
you
vocals aren't filtered anymore. It's fully opened.
It'd be smart to cut it off.
And I also added a I added another layer of atmosphere samples. This one is from my other song called Heaven, which I also made a breakdown for. Um, yeah, and it's pretty much the verse, or like the break, or whatever you want to call it.
It'd be smart to cut it off.
And as we move towards the build up,
I'll pick up your call 'cause
so for this section, which I call build, even though it's not really build up, or is it? I don't know. But yeah, for the next section,
I'll pick up your call 'cause I don't wanna fall now in too deep.
I also sorry, I mean I already what's the word? I already introduced, or like I already added the kick from the drop,
Pick up your call 'cause I don't wanna fall now in too deep.
but you know obviously they're filtered,
Pick up your call 'cause I don't wanna fall now in too deep. In too deep, can't give you my all.
as well as adding like the pluck chords from the drop. But I think I'm just gonna explain the chords later. I'm just gonna show you like the guitar first, which is this thing.
Pick up your call 'cause I don't
So this is direct wave. It's it's an FL Studio native plugin, and I actually found like a Fender guitar preset from somewhere for direct wave, which sounds really nice. And yeah, as for the processing, I added some EQ, some more filter, OTT, because why not, Camel Crusher, which is like a distortion, some saturation with Saturn, some delay, again the classic delay, dimension expander, reverb, and stereo enhancer to make it wider, as well as another EQ. So with no effects, sounds really different. Wait. So yeah, it just sounds really dry, and it's not it's kind of bad. But with all the effects that I mentioned before, this is what it sounds like. Yeah. So what's next? Drums. Oh yeah, the snares. Also the same one from the drop, as well as this thing. It's kind of like an open symbol or whatever, and this thing is not even on. um, so yeah, basically I just keep like the song moving by adding, by introducing some parts from the drop.
It could be cold 'cause I don't wanna fall now in too deep, in too deep. Can't give you my all 'cause I know what the all now where it lead, where it lead. I could come over, baby, but not to sleep. It could be cold 'cause I know that I want that, so now all I need.
So yeah, that's pretty much the build up, or like the pre chorus or whatever. um yeah. Oh yeah, for the chords, obviously, I also I opened up the filter like this. So basically I just opening up the filter knob from from Serum. So basically, like, this thing is what I'm automating. So it, when it moves towards the drop, it just keeps adding more and more energy, which is nice. And obviously you can't forget about these things. Just some basic stuff, some basic riser and up sweeps that I use on my other songs. Oh yeah, and this I also have this thing, which I think sounds really cool. Wait, this one. So this one snare in particular is actually the same sample, or like the same exact sound from, like, the snare from the drop and the build, except for this one I added like a ton of reverb, so so it sounds a bit cooler. Wait, what the fuck am I doing? So yeah, and for the drop, this is what it sounds like. I mean, you guys heard the preview, but so for the drop, it's actually quite simple. It's consists of mostly like sounds from the previous part, except in this, for the drop, obviously a lot of them are more open. Well, actually, not really, because for the pluck chords, for example, like, it's a little bit more open, or is it? Yeah, it's a little bit more open. It's it how do I say it? I don't know. Yeah, basically most of the sounds from the drop are the same one as in the break, except I added obviously a bass line and some leads. So I think I'm just gonna talk about the leads first before we go to the rest, because this thing is actually what makes the track somewhat unique in my opinion. Oh, and by the way, funny story actually, because when I first finished this track, like the initial version actually has no lead, so the older version of lead actually, the drop actually sounds like this, which actually which at the time I thought it sounds, I thought it sounds okay, like it's good, like it's not amazing or anything, but I feel like it was good enough. But when I sent it to the record label, which is Intact Records, they actually said that like the track is good, like overall it has like a really nice vibe and everything, but the drop is just too empty. So I thought, okay, I can add something. And initially they actually asked me to like maybe add like a what's it called, like stuttering like vocal lead thing, which is actually like quite trendy at the time. I actually tried making like a stuttery vocal lead, but it just sounds really terrible. So yeah, I ended up just using like a lead synth instead, which is this one, which I think turned out really nice. I mean, like I'm really happy with like the final product, and when the song is released, I'm really happy with you know with what I made. So yeah. Anyway, for the leads, or the lead, sorry, I use Serum. I also made this patch myself, but I don't really remember how, because I was just following like a tutorial. But what I did differently, or at least a little bit different from the tutorial, is the fact that I'm actually automating, or like not automating. What's the word? Modulating the fine tuning knob over here. And basically what I did was I go to this LFO section over here, and I click on this knob, I mean this button, and I go to miscellaneous, and I choose this preset called a bit crazy, which creates this weird looking LFO. And basically I just drag this LFO into the fine tuning knob over here, which actually kind of make yeah, it makes like the pitch like a little bit imperfect, yeah, a little bit imperfect, which actually gives like a really nice retro feel, because or sorry, I mean analog feel, because the thing with with analog synths, is the fact that like they don't really sound, they don't sound perfect, like they sound a little bit, what's it called, like a little bit detuned, and like basically the pitch are not perfect. So yeah, I mean it just gives like an analog feel by modulating the fine tuning knob over here, which I think sounds really nice. When you do it too much, it's gonna yeah, it's gonna sound terrible. Like it just sounds like shit. But if you adjust the amount a little bit, maybe like around 20 or 30, I put it on like 21, I think. It gives like a really nice analog feeling, which yeah, I think for this whole track fits the vibe. Or yeah, I don't know. Basically, it sounds nice. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And as for the processing, obviously I EQ it, some more EQ, delay which isn't even on. I don't know why. Reverb, obviously, some saturation, and OTT, and last EQ. And for some reason I also route it into another bus or another channel where I have the sidechain and some filter and volume knob for automation purposes. um, but yeah, I mean, overall it's pretty much what I did. Sorry about that. um, so yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's just a real nice sounding lead that I made in Serum. um, what else? Oh yeah, the chords, the plug chords, which I haven't really explained. This one is Serum as well, I think. Yeah, it is Serum. um, can't really explain this one because it's just a preset that I took from somewhere. So yeah, um, I can show you like the processing, which are just, well, you guessed it, just some EQing and some filter, reverb, and more EQ, a little bit of saturation because initially, like as I said, in the older version, or like the initial version of this song, these plug chords are actually like the lead. So I gotta make it stand out a little bit, which is why I added the saturation. But I ended up having a lead anyway, and just it just makes the whole thing sounds better, basically. um, so yeah, I mean, everything else is pretty much the same, same atmosphere, except it's filtered on like the first half of the drop. It's being filtered, like these atmosphere being filtered, as you can see here from the automation right here. And the same pad from the break. And for the bass line, now this is what's not on the break. For the bass line, I use two sounds, which are the sub layer and the mid bass layer. For the sub, I think it's just a standard sine wave. Actually, I use silent for this one for some reason, but it's basically just sine wave, basic sine wave. Or is it? No, it's actually sine wave and saw wave. Yeah, I don't know. Basically, it's just a preset that I pick. Usually, I just use like a, like as I said, like a basic sine wave. I mostly just use that. But for this project, for some reason, I decided to pick a preset. I mean, it sounds nice, so I'm not complaining. Well, I mean, it is my song, so yeah. And as for the processing, obviously EQ, OTT, Saturn. I don't know why I saturated, but yeah, I did. Then some compression, some EQ, which actually doesn't do anything, and the kickstart, or the sidechain with kickstart. That's what I was trying to say. And another kickstart for some reason, I don't really know why, and some volume knob. So that's the sub bass. And for the mid bass, I use silent. this is what the preset called. I think this is just another factory bank preset, so if you have silent one, you should have this preset on your arsenal. But yeah, I don't know, don't quote me on that. For the mid bass, I just added some EQ. I boost this area a little bit just so it has more of that fuzziness, or like, yeah, I mean this frequency basically, like I really like it. Like it just makes the bass line like cuts through the mix a bit nicer. So yeah, and obviously kickstart for sidechain and some saturation, which I only saturate like this area right here, like around 476. I mean 467 to like around 1000 hertz. Yeah, I don't really know why I did that, but yeah, apparently I did. uh, and yeah, for the drums, I mean I already show you the kick and the snare. Not much processing going on, I think. Actually, I filtered the kick quite a lot, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And as for the snare, again, just some EQing, a little bit of EQing and some OTT to make it cut through the mix a little bit better. And everything else, yeah, I mean I already show you like this open symbol thing. Oh, and actually one more thing that I think makes this, one more thing that kind of makes this whole track like kind of unique is like this hat loops over here. I added like this gap over here, so it stops for like how many bars is this, like a bar. So yeah, I mean it just gives like a really nice rhythm. Yeah, I never really heard anyone else do it in other tracks, so it's kind of unique, I think. And for the second half of the drop, basically like all the atmosphere samples are fully opened. And I added like some extra top loops, like this one for example. And also this thing, and oh, this one is not even on. Shit. Anyway, and some sweeps here and there, just some basic stuff. And yeah, then we get into the second verse, which is pretty much the same as the first verse. Yeah, I mean it's exactly the same, except what's different is what's different from the second verse. Well, nothing actually. What I'm trying to say is like it's the second build-up which which is a bit different because for the second build up, I added like some new elements. And the new element that I was talking about is this thing, the piano, the grand piano. And this is from Nexus. It's called the Nexus Grand Piano. You know, obviously because it came from Nexus. And as for the processing, a shit ton of EQ, more EQ, some imager, OTT, another EQ, some stereo widening with the stereo enhancer, fruity stereo enhancer, which makes the piano wider. Then some limiter for some reason. I think I'm just like compressing them a little bit. Actually, this is quite a lot, but yeah. Then some low pass filter for filtering the high frequencies. I mean, I could have just used an EQ, but maybe I was feeling a bit lazy that day, or when I made this song, maybe I was feeling a bit lazy back then. Anyway, reverb, and for some reason I pan it a little bit to the right. I don't really remember why. Actually, what would happen if I reset it? I think it sounds a bit better that way, but I'm not gonna change it. What else? Yeah, I mean everything else is pretty much the same as I said before. Oh, except for this thing, which is just some cashmere loops for the second build up, just so it's just so it sounds a bit different. So with everything else, which leads into the same exact drop as before, except for the second drop. Like for the second drop I added something a little bit extra, which is this thing. Just some little bass fills, which is this one. So it's basically just the bass line, except it's 1 octave higher. Yeah, I mean it's just the mid bass, except it's playing like except it's just playing like 1 octave higher. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's overall this is actually like quite a simple enough track. As you can see, like there's not too many tracks in this project. Overall I think it's a really simple song, but it has some nice ideas. So when you have nice ideas, if you have like a good idea from the beginning, like you don't really need to do much with like sound design or like the mixing and everything. Like the idea, like yeah, the idea is what's most important, I think. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna play it one last time for you guys. Or will I? Nah, you know what? If you wanna hear the full track, you can just head over to my Spotify, or I'm also gonna leave like a link in the description box below if you wanna check out the full track if you haven't already. um, this track has around like 500,000 streams on Spotify already, which is, I'm not trying to flex or anything, but I mean, it's just nice. It's just nice to know that thousands of people are actually listening to your track. I mean, by far this is like my most popular track. I mean, I get like you know quite a lot of people messaging me, sending me a DM saying things like, "Oh, I really like I really like Need. I really love that song. Thank you for making it." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're welcome." Um, so yeah. Anyway, I think that's the end of the video. Like, if there are some things that you guys wanna ask regarding this project, because I might not explain this whole thing clearly because you know I'm, I'm just not really good at like explaining stuff. So yeah, I mean, if there's you know any things that are a little unclear and you wanna basically if there's anything that you wanna ask about about this project, but this song, just leave a comment and I'll definitely reply to you. um, so yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say. Thanks for listening to this track if you have already. If you haven't, fuck off. No, I'm just kidding. If you haven't, then like I said, just head over to my Spotify and listen to the full thing, or just on YouTube, which as I said, I'm gonna leave the link in the description box below. Just in case you don't have Spotify, or maybe you're just too lazy to like search my name on Spotify. Um, but yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope this video is you know I don't know, like entertaining, or like maybe you guys can like learn something uh, from it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Bye.